And then when we stand up again, like a second.
She's not standing.
You may be seated. Court is now in session. Dred Scott's attorneys, are you ready to give your main elements?
Yes, Your Honor. The main elements of our case are Dred Scott was taken by his master from Missouri, the state which permitted slavery, to the state of Illinois and the territory of Minnesota.
Your Honor, since Illinois did not permit slavery, Dred Scott should have been freed when he was taken there.
Okay. Your Honor, we'll be using the Fifth Amendment, saying no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. And
The territory, Your Honors, the territory of Minnesota was established by the Congress of the United States as a free territory. Therefore, when Dred Scott was taken to Minnesota, he became a free man and had an immediate right to be freed under the law of the United States.
Hi, Dad.
Thus, his master had no right to return with him to Missouri and could not be declared a slave again. Your Honor.
Staff and students, please pardon this interruption. Josh Wright, please report to the office immediately. Josh Wright, report to the office immediately.
Josh left.
Your Honor, we concluded the main elements of our case.
Dred Scott's, Sanford's attorneys, are you ready to give out your main points?
Yes, Your Honor. The main elements of the case for your client, John Sanford, are
Negro slaves are not citizens and have no rights. Dred Scott does not have a right to be heard in court.
Slaves are property and not persons. Under the Fifth Amendment, the government cannot strip them from me without due process or compensation.
Since doing so would violate the Fifth Amendment, Congress cannot prevent slaves owners from bringing their slaves into any territory in the United States.
Since Congress is barred by the Fifth Amendment from preventing a Southern slave owner from bringing slaves into any territory, laws such as the Missouri Compromise are void and should have no consequence.
The Fifth Amendment states that no person shall be held to answer for capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arises in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger.
Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself.
Nor will he be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation, Your Honor.
due to Article 4, Section 2, extradition, a person charged in any state of treason, felony, or
How unprofessional.
You know what? Fine. All right, I'm done. Yeah, we're good.
That
Oh,
was
oh,
so
oh, sorry.
inconsiderate.
Your Honor, this concludes our evidence.
Dred Scott's attorneys, are you ready to give out your arguments?
I'm going to interrupt you here and make sure that this Supreme Court knows you should be taking notes about the arguments, because that's how you base your decision, okay?
Take notes, Young Lions.
Your Honors, according to Amendment 10, each state has its own laws and rights. So the state that he was in, slavery was not legal, so he was free.
Your Honor, Amendment 9 states that states have certain powers. For example, marriage licenses. Dred Scott was married, but it wasn't recognized by law because he was a slave.
Your Honor, in Amendment 5, it states, no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property. Dred Scott's Fifth Amendment rights were violated because he was deprived of liberty.
Your Honor, according to Amendment 10, the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people, meaning that since he was in a free state, he should be free.
Okay. We will be using Your Honor, we will be using Amendment 7 as Amendment 7 states that the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial and a jury of peers. We will use this with our argument to I just pulled up the land.
Okay.
You're not supposed to just sit there.
Has an argument.
I went full with the land.
Order in court.
Me?
Yeah.
By Amendment 1, it pretty much says that you can't make a law that disrespects someone's religion or anything. And Dred Scott was a slave, and by Amendment 1 that wasn't right because you can't just discriminate him because of the color of his skin, and you took him to a free state. So you also not only disrespect his Amendment 1 rights, but you took him to a state where he was free, and then you took away his freedom by taking him back there.
Your Honor, Amendment 8 states that excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines, nor cruel or unusual punishments inflicted. This was used against Dred Scott because that he was beaten and forced to do stuff that he didn't want to do by his sleeves. I respect this. Objection.
Your Honor, we conclude our argument.
The attorney supporting John Stanford, are you ready to point out your arguments?
Yeah. Alright. Due to Article 4, Section 2, it states that a person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from justice and be found in another state shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. So, since he did commit a crime and he fled to a different state, he needs to be tried for what he did wrong and brought back to his state.
Very unproclaimed of you. Next round.
Alright. Amendment number 4 of the Constitution states that the government has no right to invade a person's property, home, or take personal belongings without a warrant. This means that since slaves are property and not people, slaves can be taken into free states without being taken by the state law, Your Honor.
Article 4, Section 1 states, "The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states." Dred Scott is a slave, and slaves cannot be citizens. So Dred Scott's case shouldn't even be able to be presented in court, Your Honor.
Also in Amendment 4, it says that your property cannot be searched without a warrant, and the slaves can't be taken away without a warrant, and there was no warrant.
Amendment 8 states that excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. And it's cruel and unusual for Sanford to be deprived of his slave.
Amendment 10 states that rights not given by the Constitution and not proved to the states are reserved respectively to the states. And since Missouri was a slave state, their slaves will always be slaves. And slavery is not in the Constitution, so it's up to the state's decision on what they do with their slaves.
Amendment 6 states that the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy public trial. And this trial has gone on for 10 years, so this means Sanford's 6th Amendment is being violated.
Amendment 5 states that they cannot take my property without compensation or due process, meaning the slave will stay mine.
Amendment 5 states, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Mr. Sanford's Fifth Amendment rights were being violated as his private property was stripped away from him without just compensation.
Your Honor, this concludes our arguments.
Rebuttals of rejection may be admitted.
Wait, is it, who go first?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Well,
Alright then. For what Emerald had said, Amendment 8, excessive bail shall not be required, nor no acceptance fines, nor cruel and unusual punishments. She stated that it's cruel and unusual for him to come out of slavery, and that doesn't make any sense because being beaten and forced to do something you don't want to do is more of cruel and unusual than staying in slavery to conduct those type of activities. Right?
We're not even talking.
Joanne, sit up and say
wait,
objection.
Kevin.
Ordering court. I have objection everyone.
She goes, and you'll go after.
Back and yourself to the girl.
Are you acting? Objection.
Objection. Relevance? Are we relevant?
Guys.
Amendment 8 states that cruel and unusual punishment shall not be inflicted. And I was saying it was cruel and unusual for Sanford to be deprived of his slave. Because it's his property.
Okay, well, Kobe said that.
Say objection.
I have an objection everyone. Okay, Your Honor. Okay. Kobe said in Amendment 4 that their private property cannot be invaded, but in Amendment 5 it says that a person cannot be deprived of their life, so technically he is not property. If he's getting, so his amendment is being, yeah.
Right, yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
Against what you said, I have no objection. Against what you said, amendment. Juliana, sorry. Amendment 5 says persons and not slaves. Slaves do not count as people, which means they do not have rights. I have more objections to against Attorney AJ's statement. His argument is an argument.
Uh-oh.
Amendment 7 says nothing about speedy trials. And
Order in court.
with Attorney Madison's Amendment 5 says persons, not slaves. I request that those two are rejected from the case.
What? When did that come into play?
Your request has been denied.
Under what circumstance?
Because I said so. Under boom. Ooh.
I have an objection against what Aiden said.
Oh, man.
He said something about how Dred Scott fled. And when I looked at what you're bringing up, it says a person that charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from justice. He wasn't charged of a crime or a felony, and he didn't flee. He was taken back and forth. So, like Quentin said, I hope this gets removed from this trial.
I swear if you get me out of this court, bring the damn him. Don't do it. Don't do it. Remember that one time when we almost all
Now that was a bad
Objections?
Any other objections?
So I get to stay?
Yes, you can.
No.
No.
It's recess for you.
Our court's going into recess for 5 minutes.
Snacks will be provided.
Hold on.
I'm the only respectful when it's good.
All right. Supreme Court of the United States. Take papers, please. Now this is amazing.
Remember that time when
He didn't run away. Oh, because the slave master. Well, not all of them.